Appreciate you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 24th day of February, 2025. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start, and the clock on my cell phone is showing 4:05 p.m. May we have roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley? Oh, she's over there. She's here. Councilperson Prinzari?
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano? Councilperson Saleh?
Here.
Councilperson Solomon? Not here. Councilperson Gilmore?
Present.
Councilperson DeGise? Councilperson Rivera?
Here.
Council President Waterman?
Here.
Okay, we have 8 council members in attendance at 4:05 p.m. On behalf of the Council President Waterman and members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall. The notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2025, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Friday, November 15, 2024. In addition, at the time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, February 21st, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. to the Mayor, Municipal Council, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. I will now turn it over to Council President.
Good afternoon. Our first director, Khadija.
Evening, Council.
Evening.
I have 6 items on the agenda to discuss this afternoon. The first agenda number is 10.2. This is Resolution 25120. This is awarding a contract agreement between the City of Jersey City and Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield for a period of 1 year, starting January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, to provide open dental services for eligible employees.
Question? Next.
The next agenda number is 10.3. This is Resolution 25121. This is a resolution ratifying an agreement between the City of Jersey City and Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield to provide closed plan services, city eligible employees, and the period is from January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
Question? Next.
The next item number is 10.4. This is Resolution 25122. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Union Labor Life Insurance, ULICO, to provide self-funded medical and prescription drug excess stop-loss coverage for all retirees and city employees.
Question.
Director, is there a change in this from prior contracts, or is this a renewal?
This is an RFP actually went out,
Okay.
and ULICO came in with the best numbers.
Okay, great. Can you send us the RFP package?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
.5.
The next item number is 10.5. This is Resolution 25123. This is a resolution authorizing the renewal of a contract with Fred A. Mortone and Company to provide voluntary supplemental benefits to active employees of the city. This is a 1-year contract and is 0 cost to the city. The next number is 10.6. This is Resolution 25124. A resolution authorizing the renewal of a contract with Employee Family Protection, EFP, to provide voluntary supplemental benefits to active employees of the city. This is a one-year contract as well, and is zero cost to the city. And the last agenda number is 10.7. This is Resolution 25125. This is a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City to execute a data sharing and confidentiality agreement with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield and Ulico.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Kears.
Good afternoon, President Warden and members of the council. I have 8 items before you today. First one is item 10.8, Resolution 25-126. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to SHI International Corporation for the purchase and delivery of the Gray Key license, a mobile data extraction forensic tool for the Department of Public Safety, JCPD Cyber Unit through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. Total amount of the contract is $60,755.32 and is funded through the 2023 UASI grant. Next item is 1019. This, you know what, I have one, but that was an afterthought. Next one is item 1018, 25-136. And this is an acceptance of a grant resolution associated with the solid waste and recycling. The total amount of the grant is $347,874.48. And the purpose will enhance recycling programs to continue throughout the city, continuing composting program, pay for recycling bins for 1- and 2-family homes, as well as offset salaries for the recycling staff. Next item is 1019, 25-137. Resolution will award a contract to General Plumbing Supply for the purchase and delivery of plumbing supplies for the Department of Public Works, Division of Buildings and Streets. Total amount of the contract is $50,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $5,000, which is available in a DPW operating account. 1020, 25-138. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Jewel Electric Supply Company to supply various types of electrical supplies for the DPW Division of Buildings and Streets. Total amount of the contract is $100,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $10,000, which is available in a DPW operating account. Next item, 1021, 25-139. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Lombardi Door Sales and Service to provide repairs and maintenance of motorized overhead doors and secure barrier systems for the DPW Division of Buildings and Streets. Total amount of the contract is $53,300 with a temporary encumbrance of $13,325, which is available in the Division of Streets, Building and Streets operating account. Next is 1022, 25-140. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Trias Incorporated to supply street sweeper brushes and equipment as needed for the DPW Division of Sanitation. Total amount of this contract is $100,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $25,000, which is available in a DPW operating account. Next is item 1023, 25-141. Resolution will authorize or award a contract to Rare Step DBA Fleeto for the purchase of fleet management maintenance software for the DPW Division of Automotive Services. Total amount of the contract is $79,560 for the period commencing April 30th, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. Funding for this project is available in the Automotive Services operating account.
Director, is this a new software for us?
Sorry,
Is
Council.
this software new?
No, just renewal.
It's a renewal. Okay, got it.
System we presently use. The final one is 1024, 25-142. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to WB Mason and Company for the purchase and delivery of copier paper for citywide use. Total amount of this contract is $80,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $15,000, which is available in a DPW operating account.
Great. This This is, this paper's for citywide?
Yes.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Baker?
Good evening, Council President, members of City Council. I have one resolution for you this evening. It is agenda number 10.9, Resolution 25-127. It's a resolution authorizing an award of a contract to Dell Marketing for the purchase and delivery of computers for the new 911 center under state contract for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. These are items that, of course, we did not put in under the lease because we had the funding, and this is coming out of the reserve account in the amount of $74,649.60. These computers are specially designed, they're small form factor. They will be handling the network, the mapping, and the CAD system.
These computers are in conjunction with the radio room upgrade systems from what we voted on last week.
These are specially designed to be working 24/7. They're never shut down.
No, but I understand the operations, but what I'm asking is, we voted last, council meeting.
Separate, exactly. This was not covered because we had the funding for these. So rather than try to lease them and put more money onto the lease, we for these outright. If you look back at that quote, this goes back to July of 2024
24, yes.
for the
No.
leasing.
I understand. I just wanted to have you on a record, as it relates to how detailed you were itemizing the budget, how much it cost, what was being spent on what, sending it to the council before time so we can take a look at it, so we can imbibe exactly what is going on.
Thank
And it goes to my latter point that other department directors don't do this, and I just wanted to ask you, is this something hard to do? That's it.
Thank you.
Bob, I just want to echo those words that what you sent us was like spot on. It explained everything. And, thank you for that. Doesn't take much to do. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Council.
Same. I echo the same as my councilman colleague.
Ditto. Right. Cohen?
Good afternoon, Council President, members of City Council. HHS has one item on this evening's agenda, Resolution 25128, Agenda Number 10.10, a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application for the New Jersey Department of Agriculture's 2025 Summer Food Service Program.
All right.
I'm good. Thank you. I'm good.
Did you sample it, Councilman?
When the time comes. Thank you.
Director Patel?
Hello, Council President, members of the council. I have one item for the Division of Engineering. It's Agenda Item 3.4, Ordinance 25-024. This is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a temporary construction easement and access easement between the City of Jersey City and FD Johnston Avenue LLC. That's the developer for the property on Johnston Avenue right by Garabrandt Street near the light rail tracks where the Liberty State Park light rail station is. This is a standard agreement that we typically enter into with property owners whenever monitoring wells are required on their property to observe and test water flow levels and quality. So that's all this ordinance is doing. The developer is required to monitor on their property over the next 10 years and make any remediation that may be necessary.
I was gonna ask about something not on the agenda. If you could explain the possible late item regarding the engineer to start the schematics for the possible bike lane.
Sure. So we have a requirement by the grant that we received by New Jersey Department of Transportation for the bikeway project on Manhattan and Franklin Avenue, which is to develop a full design of the project that we would then have to submit to the NJDOT for their approval. And so we've received quotes and have prepared a resolution to award a contract to an engineering firm who would aid in the development of those plans. It didn't make it onto this council agenda, but if the council would like to add it as a late item, we have it prepared, which would basically allow us to start the work now instead of 2 weeks from now. I'll just mention one relevant point, which is that we have a grant deadline, which is in June. And so we are required to get all of the plans developed, get the bid package together, and get the project out to bid and awarded by that June deadline in order to be able to use the grant funding.
Is the money for this contract coming from the grant? Okay, so.
No, the money would be coming from the city's budget. The grant will not cover it.
Okay,
And so this is just for the design of, now, with regards to that June date, you're saying that we have to check off a couple boxes before so it's not even a matter of us saying, all right, we're gonna go with this plan versus that plan. We would essentially have to decide whatever that is, and that would have to be in.
In either case, we would need to have an engineer on board in order to perform that work. As you know, we don't have any licensed engineers on staff within the city, and we would need to have a firm provide those services to just start their baseline work, regardless of which design or option we went with.
But the issue, so from a pricing standpoint, if the entire duration is built out versus if it's sectional or whatever the compromise is going to be two different prices, right?
Yeah, so we requested quotes allowing for that. And essentially what would happen is if we only had them design a portion of the work that isn't the full length of both of the corridors, we just wouldn't pay them that amount. So like we do with every contract that we award, it's an amount that's a not to exceed amount. And so we would monitor that. And if they don't use up the full amount that's in their contract, we're under no obligation to pay them the full amount.
I mean, I think we should add it, because at some point we have to make a decision. No need to, keep lingering this on.
As long as it's clear that this is not going to go full length or half length.
No, what I'm
There's
saying,
still discussions.
whatever the decision is what I'm saying is that we have to do, and this gets the ball rolling because you get the quote for the full length versus whatever else. I mean, I just don't see it a point in delaying that.
See,
okay, as long as the council's okay introducing it as a late item,
No.
I'd like to,
Rich said no.
we could walk it on.
Rich said no, he's not agreeing.
He's,
No.
Rich, this
No.
is just
Just the engineer.
this is just for the engineer, for them to conduct plans.
Until the people are fully
Disposed with you,
discuss
right.
all the neighbors and all the people up there, no.
We could still continue the discussions, just like having the engineer design it is,
But
Yeah,
we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it and let you
Okay.
know, should we put it
Okay.
in for later?
Yeah, I just want to make sure whatever's decision is made, I just want to emphasize that we would be using city funding
It's city
in order to
funding.
hire this engineer, and the grant would cover the construction of the plan that we finalize. So whatever decision is made should keep that into account, because we will be using city funds.
okay.
Do you have like a roundabout estimate how much it would be, how much the city would
Yeah,
have
so-
to fund for the schematics?
Yes, the resolution we prepared was to award a contract for $162,000 for the engineering firm, which is called FPA, to develop those designs, which would include the full design and the package that we would need put together to put the project out to bid for construction. So that involves the engineering plans, but also a lot of the other documentation for a bid package.
Okay, and then also, in the designs that were, I guess, constructed or
Yeah, all the
nothing's
different
official
alternatives.
yet, but
Mhm.
the different options. Were there conversations with police and fire? Getting a lot of concerns about
Correct.
public safety with creating that bike lane.
Yes, so before we implemented the demonstration project, which was the first action that we took on this after the council approved us going out for this grant, my team and the fire department team and OEM had several conversations about what the project would look like, how long the demonstration project would last, you know, what they thought needed to be refined in the design, et cetera. Since then, because we've been going back and forth and I haven't had a clear direction on which option we're going with, I haven't yet had a follow-up conversation with them, but that is something that we would do at this point because we would need them to weigh in on the final design, even for basic things like running a turning radius test to make sure that the way the curbs are designed is able to accommodate a fire truck making that turn safely. Things like that are part of our standard process that we would run by them.
So Barker, the committee stopped me last week, right after the council meeting, and I did tell them that before we even entertained this to come to this step, we were supposed to have a meeting with public safety. Your name was involved because at the last meeting, public safety said no to this project. So I don't, and the reason why they're saying, like I told them, I said, I'm all for it, but it can't come at the expense of the community safety being put in the back burner. So I told them, I said, we need to make sure that public safety is on board because we have a St. Joseph School of the Blind, we have PS number 6, we have another school there, we have PS number 7, and we have the fire headquarters there. Blocking that road is going to be substantial. Again, I want to be clear, I don't have a problem with their idea because I think it's a great idea, right? But if public safety is specifically saying no, because they specifically said no, we have to be careful because God forbid if something happens, this council is going to be blamed for something.
Okay,
Understood?
I would say that, echoing my council colleagues' comments, that public safety did put up opposition towards the full length of the bike lane. They seemed a little bit more amenable towards the alternative plan, which was Franklin, but we should schedule a meeting. I would still like to see this on the agenda. I just put that out there with my council colleagues because we should have schematics and we could still have these discussions as, we continue, but let the engineer do their work and we'll continue to talk on our side with public safety and the advocates.
where's the funding coming from?
The funding for the construction would come from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. They have an annual grant program, which is called the Bikeways Grant, which is part of their goal to implement safe bike infrastructure throughout the state. The funding for the hiring of the engineer would come from the city's budget under our department for professional services.
So it's coming from your budget.
Yes,
You have it in your budget.
I think so.
Well, maybe.
According to our finance department
Well,
or
maybe
fiscal
you need to check
officers.
with finance.
We've
And
identified.
we
the
need to meet
funding.
with, we need to meet with public safety concerning this issue though.
Just add, Councilman, one, we'll make sure you all have a copy of the resolution so you can review it before Wednesday. And we're happy to facilitate whatever meeting with public safety to make sure they're on board with everything. And
Peter,
What do you mean?
Peter,
What do you mean by that?
that right. Let them meet with public safety. I'm telling you, there's a lot of opposition when it comes to the safety of this. They have to meet with them.
correct, that's how I mean by
I don't
facilitate.
want to
As
push
in, we're
nothing.
going to make sure
Because
that public
what
safety.
happen is we will give JC Bike false narrative here, false hope that we're going to do something, then find out down the road, we're not going to do it. But then they say, but you guys passed it. So why aren't you going to do it? That's what we get afterwards sometime.
The thing is, we're
Uh-huh.
going to go with something, right?
I don't know. Public safety, we don't know. That's just it.
But what, I'm- like,
Public safety ain't,
I
I
think.
think what you're
the-
saying is we're gonna have that looked at anyways, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying.
study
I'm
has
under
to
the
be done.
impression that what Barker and Yusuf is talking about now is just them to put out the RFP for them to do schematic designs, right?
It would be for a full design.
Yeah.
So a schematic design would be like a high level concept saying roughly this is what we're going to design out. Here's where something's going to go on the street. Here's how wide it's going to be, et cetera. The full design would include all of that and very like inch by inch dimensions of how this is going to be designed, how it's going to be constructed, if there's concrete work involved, how that's going to be implemented. So it would be a full design of the project of, just one of the options,
Well,
whichever
so-
one is decided.
So
And then that is the one we would submit to the DOT and say, this is the one we're putting forward. And then they would then authorize the grant funding to build out whichever one we design.
whichever design in that specific area, that they want to close off, correct? Franklin Street, Manhattan Avenue, we're talking about that specific area. That design is for that area, correct?
Correct. Yeah. This whole thing is just for that length of Manhattan Avenue and Franklin.
So why wouldn't they have done that when they had the pilot?
We did. So we did a concept for the pilot. We collected feedback from the pilot after the demonstration project or the pilot. We didn't have clear direction on whether there was support to move forward with it the way it was implemented. And then since the pilot up until now, we've sort of been going back and forth on, do we advance the design that we tested on the ground? Do we change it? How do we modify it? So that's what's been happening for all of these months. And we've also been working on getting an extension on the grant for all of these months because it was set to expire last year. But because we didn't have a decision, we got the extension for 6 more months, which is what brings us to June of this year.
And the feedback you're saying is constituent feedback that you're getting? Can we have some of those feedbacks? Because I again, like I was specific with the committee. I like it, but I want to make sure that the feedback is just not feedback that's going to the Bike JC people. It's feedback coming from the constituents of the city of Jersey City.
So with the demonstration project that we did, yeah, we had a survey that was open during that period. So that was, again, people in the area were able to take that survey. So we have hundreds of responses that we received. We did summarize it and we're happy to, provide.
Barker,
data.
who is,
Who is he?
Oh,
Sorry.
So, yeah, I'm Elias Guzman. I'm in the transportation planning.
I couldn't hear you. Who are you?
Elias Guzman. I'm in the transportation planning department.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
I mean,
Works under Mike Manzella as one of our transportation planners.
Can I ask one more follow? You sort of referenced this earlier, but I just want to understand what is the timeline here and bringing the engineer in versus when ultimately we have to submit this? I just want to kind of lay that out again.
So the timeline that we're working backwards from, or the deadline, is in June, mid-June? Okay, mid-June. So at that date, we would have to have already awarded a contract for the construction of this project in order for us to be able to use the funds from the DOT. So working backwards from that, we would have to award this contract to an engineer to do a design. Typically, we would want about 2.5 months or something like this. So we're already shortening that into about a month. Once we have a design, we would circulate it and make sure the other agencies, you mentioned public safety, also the council members can review it and give quick feedback. We would finalize that design. We would then prepare a bid package. We would advertise it. We need, I think 22 days is the minimum that we would have to advertise that for. And then we would have to come back to council and award that contract to whoever bids on it, our lowest bidder. So all of that would have to happen by June. And we are already cutting it very, very extremely close to be able to even meet that.
Because there was no agreement.
Correct.
That's what pushed this all back, and it's still like, it sounds like it's still no agreement. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I don't know. It's-
Now
Right.
pressing us to do something, but it seemed like you didn't have no direction on which way to go.
Yeah, it seems like we're split on whether
It's split.
it seems like it to me, but I'm not the decision maker.
I think the compromise plan is something that, and I'm gonna go with my conversations here, and the council's happy to have these conversations with OEM and public safety, that they'd be in favor of a compromise plan. I think that there is a lot of resistance to the full length of Manhattan Avenue being a bike lane, okay, or one-way bike lane. And despite my support for it, I support it. I put that on the record. I support having public safety, like basically looking at the whole plan. And they did, and they said, you know, they have a hard time with the turning of the trucks on Manhattan Avenue. They have a firehouse over there. So I think that the bike JC people can still meet with public safety. We can still get the designs done. I think that the council should, if we don't act, it is like we made a decision here, right? That, because we're cutting it so close. So, yeah,
Yeah, whether you want to get to the-
yeah,
Making a decision.
absolutely. And I think that we should go through the steps, just like step by step. Like even if, let's say, it all is a fruitless endeavor, that we tried, that we worked with the community, we worked with the advocates, we worked with all the stakeholders, the SID, the Bike JC, you know, Pershing Field Neighborhood Association, all these different groups. But I think we owe it to the community to at least move step by step. And that's what I'm advocating for. It's not that the full plan is going to come into play or the compromise plan, but we need to have a dialogue with each other. The engineer can continue to do the engineering work on behind the scenes. At least start with Franklin Avenue. And then if it comes to a vote,
Compromise plan.
yes, the compromise plan, start with
Compromise
Franklin Avenue. If we can't come to an accord between public safety and all these different stakeholders, then put the compromise plan up. And that's something I told the Bike JC folks
Okay.
as well. So
Compromise.
let's just go step by step. I know it's a very contentious issue, okay? I'm not trying to shove anything down anybody's throat. I know we're split, and it's a very, you know, it's an election year, but we should go step by step. We did the pilot, we gathered the feedback. You know, it's by a school, like PS number 8. But the compromise plan, at least in my eyes, if you look at the school, right? Most schools have the one-way around them, and Franklin Avenue is a two-way. There is a safety aspect to it. And OEM said that they wouldn't be opposed to that necessarily. So I think we owe it to everybody to at least keep the discussion going, to hire the engineer and to, you know, work with Bike JC, work with OEM public safety. It's not to say we're ever going to come to an agreement. Maybe everyone walks away upset because they didn't get everything. Okay.
And I just want to just add, because this is, one of the things that I told the committee on the last council meeting was that when they did Franklin Avenue, what was it, going north? What is it?
Yeah, it's going west.
Going west. when you have Franklin Avenue going west and then you have the other side going east, that's a recipe for disaster. So you know, especially when we literally saw ambulances trying to get into that, you know, doctor's office that they could, normally they would make the right to go into that cardiology center and then make a left. The ambulance had to actually go down 2 blocks to make a right, come down, I guess it's Cambridge, and then come back up. Again, that's like minutes that we cannot afford, you know? So again, I'm on board, but everybody has to be on board with it, you know?
Council members, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I will say that it's important to know at this point, if we're going to be spending city funds on hiring an engineer, which direction we're going in. The reason is that once we get to the point where we award a contract for construction, I will be coming back to you and presenting ordinances for that change in the direction of the street. So that is the major council action that will be required in order to formalize that change. So if it seems like that's not going to move forward, you know, we can conduct the study, but I just want to make sure everyone is clear that the reason for this exercise of hiring someone is so that another vote can be taken later on to formalize that change.
That might not happen.
I mean, again, they spoke to me last Wednesday. I didn't get an email from them or public safety we had 2 weeks to have a meeting.
I'm sorry, who is them?
Public safety.
No, we had the Bike JC people, they quartered me in that corner right after the council meeting, all of them, right there. I was there to the wee hours, right there. So Wednesday, and we had Thursday, Friday, all of next week, you know, we could have done something.
It could have.
Well, I would just say that just to director's point is that what you're saying is you need the direction before you go forward. We're on an extremely tight timeline. So to me, it's there's 2 options. It's either we vote on the engineering contract on Wednesday, as Councilman Slay is asking us to do, because it takes you time. Once the contract is voted on, you don't have to immediately start working.
Correct.
And then you get guidance from us in the 2 weeks following, which strikes me as the best sort of initial option. But if the votes aren't there in the council, it feels like then we have 2 weeks before our next meeting to have a definitive, where does the majority lie, and move forward. I obviously don't want us to let this money go to waste, and make sure we have some, you know, I think would be the first protected bike lane in the Heights, but we got to get the 5 votes and then go forward. So I feel like those are our options, right?
She just said, doesn't make sense if we don't think we're gonna pass it, because she's gonna have to come back. So that's her concern.
Would it kill the project for us to do this in 2 weeks, to vote on this contract in 2 weeks? I know it's tight.
Say it this way. At this point, I can't guarantee that we will
Guarantee.
get everything we need back from the engineer in time to be able to meet the deadline. Like, we're already at that point now.
Right, we
So
all,
I just don't know. We're gonna push as much as we can because obviously we don't want to lose the grant funding, and we're gonna try to condense that time period so they can design and get it done. But every additional change in, you know, what we're designing, what we're moving forward, whether we need to have more conversations, is just stealing away from the deadline that we have for the grant.
you should speak to everybody to make sure you have the.
That's not to say that it can't happen. I just want to be honest in terms of my assessment of the time we have left.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's not on here. They have to bring it. Okay, thank you. Matt, you said find out, see how everybody feels. There's no need to bring. Right.
Good afternoon, council. I'm here on 2 resolutions. First one being 10.16, resolution 25-134. This is a resolution to direct the planning board to study and recommend amendments to the Bates Street redevelopment plan. Bates Street redevelopment plan is adjacent to the old Colony Shopping Center, just west. There has attached to this resolution, there has been a cover letter prepared and made part of this resolution. It is from Connell Foley Law Firm on behalf of the LLCs enumerated in the letter. And they're asking for the council to authorize the planning board to study.
Next one, Pat.
All right. Item 10.17, Resolution 25-135. This is a resolution directing the planning board to study and recommend amendments to the Grand Jersey redevelopment plan, specifically Block 15702, and the use of Gilchrist Street within the designated redevelopment area. Gilchrist is currently, if you walk by, you might not consider it a street, but it's right next to the PSENG substation and the hospital. Similar to the previous resolution, there is a cover letter along with draft map and text that are attached to this resolution.
Matt, I just ask that, we continue to maintain direct communication with the councilman's office and the community as we progress through the.
Understood.
And can you just summarize for the Grand Jersey, what is this is just a quick summary of the changes that are being considered?
There is a site that's up along Monmouth Street and in Grand Street that is requesting additional height and density. I believe that there might be another community facility component, which I have not reviewed very closely at this time since we're not authorized yet. But I believe that that's how it was submitted to us. And it will most likely trigger the IZO and include affordable housing.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. Brian Rans with the Division of Community Development. I have 5 resolutions for you today. The first resolution is Agenda Item 1011, Resolution 25-129. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council awarding Community Development Block Grant Public Facilities Program 2022 unallocated funds and authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the City of Jersey City Department of Infrastructure, Division of Sustainability for citywide street planting. As you all know, we receive community development block grant dollars from HUD annually. And in our annual action plan, we allocate a large percentage of it to public facility projects. This could be invested in infrastructure improvements like this, or it could help, expand public facilities for nonprofits and other government-led agencies. Last year, the Division of Sustainability submitted an application for $1 million to help subsidize their 2025 spring tree planting initiative, and it went through the underwriting process, and they were granted $1 million. From my understanding, the Division of Sustainability needs this award before they can go out to bid. But pursuant to the regs for this award, the trees will be planted throughout low and moderate income areas based on the 2020 census data. Those locations are still being finalized. And then the terms of the contract will be pursuant to a competitive bid that the Division of Sustainability is administering. Okay, the second resolution is Agenda Item 10.12, Resolution 25-130. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 427 Pacific Avenue. On June 24th, 1993, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the City of Jersey City to acquire the property at 427 Pacific Avenue. They used home dollars, which was a grant provided by HUD. On December 5th, 2019, the constituent transferred the property to her son, who's now looking to sell the property. They requested a calculation for how much was owed pursuant to the 95.5 clause, and our office determined the amount was $64,153.50. Upon the receipt of that money, BCD is requesting permission to discharge the mortgage.
was gonna ask about, the 95.5 program. Do you have any, like,
He finishes on the agenda.
it is about the resolution. He's talking about okay, I mean, I'll sidebar with you about it then.
Not a problem, Councilman.
Thank you.
Okay, my third resolution is Agenda Item 1013, Resolution 25131, a resolution of the Municipal Council authorizing the subordination of the city's mortgage encumbering 362 Hoboken Avenue, Unit 302, AKA 65 Fleet Street. An individual is the owner of an affordable condo that has home subsidies. They're looking to sell the property, and DCD's already done the underwriting. The purchaser is income eligible, and then they're going to assume the affordability restrictions throughout the term. The purchaser is acquiring financing that requires that we subordinate our mortgage to their lender. This is because the lender wants to, eliminate risk, but also since it's a secondary mortgage, and we're trying to encourage affordable housing, this is something that we regularly do. We underwrite the loan and we're sufficiently protected. So we're requesting that the council authorize the subordination of the mortgage. Okay, the fourth resolution is a resolution of the Municipal Council to award increased funding for the Senior Nutrition Program and the remaining Community Service Block Grant funding for program year 2024. Pursuant to Resolution 24-620 in August of 2024, the council authorized a variety of awards to government agencies and nonprofits in the community to spend money. We received an initial allocation of $342,011. Thereafter, we received our second tranche, and the second tranche actually included an increase of approximately $15,915. This is due to the fact that the fiscal year for the state often changes in the middle of the program year for this grant. So if the legislature appropriates more money or receives more money from the government, the federal government that is, then we usually receive a small increase, and that's what that is. The city is hoping to allocate the increased amount of $15,915 to the Health and Human Services Senior Nutrition Program. Okay. And then the last resolution is a resolution requesting that the BA execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 406-408 Holiday Street in Jersey City. 1993, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the city of Jersey City for $52,000 under the home program. Sometime in 2015, the owner sold the property to his son, and a part of that transaction, they issued a $41,256 check to the city of Jersey City, presumably to discharge the mortgage. The mortgage was not discharged, but now the new owner is looking to sell the property, and they can't sell the property because the mortgage is still encumbering the property. We did our due diligence. The settlement agent for the transaction showed proof that they sent us a check. We looked with the Department of Finance to verify that we received it. Unfortunately, there's not records from that time to know who the money received for, but there is a ledger entry of this amount that was deposited. So we're very confident that we received the money and that the mortgage should be discharged.
Wait, now I'm confused because I thought it was the original, so it's the original name, the name that's on there is indicating that that was the original owner.
Correct. So when the transaction occurred in 2015, the transaction was subject to the mortgage. Allegedly, there was an agreement with the city at that time that you would receive the $41,256 and discharge the mortgage. The mortgage was not discharged.
But they never changed ownership neither.
They did. The father and son have the exact same name.
Oh, so it's the same. Oh, okay. And we just legal. What do we, how do, no, I know you guys weren't here, but allegedly a payment was made. There has to be a way that we can verify definitively if we received this money. irregardless of how long ago it was.
We received, like I said, we received the escrow statement from the settling agent, and it showed a check was issued to us for this exact same amount.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Something, documentation showing that something was sent and documentation showing that we received something is two drastically different things.
The document retention schedule is 6 years, and from what we've been told, any written documentation of the transaction has been shredded, and they didn't scan any documentation at that time. So we have nothing besides the ledger in the system. It
That was 6 years ago,
was in 2015.
11 years. We don't have records from 2015.
So the settlement agent at the closing, they would have verified that the check was taken out as part of the closing process. So we're probably good here. We could move forward with the discharge.
I just, yeah. Oh, man. I just think we need some, like, we can't do business like this. Like, we need to, like, we need to have some type of documentation to show that it's, for God's sake, it's 2015.
Right. But what I'm explaining, Councilman, what he was saying is that we basically have the title binder. Am I correct, Ryan?
Correct.
So at the closing, the title company is only going to insure the property if all the outstanding payments that would have been required to be made have been paid. So the fact that we've got a title binder saying that this check was presented at closing to the city would show that we could rely on it as a receipt that the city got paid.
Here's my issue, John, right? In an ideal world, we would hope that the title company did everything that they were supposed to do, right? My problem is that we don't have any concrete evidence to speak to that. Everything right here is speculative and based on industry standards. And I've done several closings where the people forgot to collect the balance of the money. When I bought my first affordable housing from Garden State, they forgot to get the balance of the down payment. Until I told them, hey, what am I supposed to do with this check here? So this is not something that's far. All I'm saying is that these 95-5 mortgages are extremely messy. There's there's people living in homes. We don't have the record of the transaction. There's people dead. We don't have the record of these transactions. And now there's a transaction potentially where the father transferred the property to the son and the son dispersed said amount. And I just don't understand how in 2015, something from 2015, we can't confirm if we received it or not definitively. Now, are you willing to go on the record and say that we've definitively received this money?
No.
That's my whole point, but you want us to vote as the council.
I mean, at the end of the day, the title company loses money if this didn't happen. It would be a defect in the title of the property. So can I say definitively that we received a copy of that check? Absolutely not. Is it likely? Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, I can't support nothing like that. I don't know what everybody else is going to do. I don't know, man. We gotta get control of this stuff, man. I just know nowhere else can I do business and is a potential of me making a payment. Right?
Wouldn't it all be possible with the bank that the city used during this time? Wouldn't they have some type of transaction, what we receive and what we let out? You can get an old bank statement history. I'm just,
Look into it.
okay, I figure a bank could do it. You just have to request it. I know you do.
Well, so I guess we have to bring it back again. I mean, I don't know. Whatever y'all want to, I'm not voting for it. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to pull it till we get more information. And the crazy thing is when I reached out, none of this part of the conversation came out. I thought it was essentially a matter of the original owner wanting to get rid of the house. Now I come to find out that the father transferred to the son. Him and his son have the same exact name. Does the deed speak to that? Is there at least a transaction to show that portion?
Yes, Councilman, I have the deed right here and I have the summary of the settlement statement.
Is Carmen here?
Miss Carmen, yeah.
Carmen, can you come up here for a minute?
Is like, y'all dragged me into this. I'm not over there no more.
Hello. I guess I've been listening in the back. So to answer your question, it was in 2015, I got here in 2014. DCD employees at the time were not required to go to closings as it relates to real estate. So if you have a title company going out and doing closing on behalf of the city or the entity, this is why our paperwork kind of sort of would be lost in a particular way. I'm happy to work with Brian and the team in regards to documenting this file. But ultimately, if we have done our due diligence in documenting the request, typically banks, when you go to get records, it's like a 7-year window. The retention records is a 6-year window. So we can do an extra check before Wednesday for you guys to see on the treasury end where was it deposited and what the process was 10 years ago when you walked in. But there was a lot of things when it happened in the real estate perspective that we were not doing, that in the event that the constituent now is asking the now acting director to do the real estate aspect of this, I don't think it's proper to hold it up. And I get you, Councilman. I will give you kind of sort of the context and I'll review what I have or if this came across my desk in 2015 so that everyone feels comfortable with this real estate transaction.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank-
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Sophia?
That's it for me. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time.
Just clap. Yes, he did. He just clapped.
Okay,
Uh,
we are here for 3.2 and 3.3. Sophia Ferrer from my office will be doing 3.2, which is the harder one. I will be doing 3.3, which is essentially a typo, and I have to fix it by ordinance. So this fixes the fees for the non-residential. We realized at the first invoice how high it was. So we have been billing at the correct and lower price. I just want you to know that. But this is the what we have to do. We have to formally and officially change the typo. But I'm going to let Sophia go through 3.2.
Good evening.
Evening.
I will be presenting item 3.2 on the agenda, ordinance number 25-022. This is an amendment to chapter 345, article 3, application requirements, development procedures and checklists. And this amendment does two things. First, it clarifies our review procedures when it concerns review agents for subdivision and site plan development reviews. And it also allows approved plans to be digitally signed, which makes the process more quicker when it comes to approving developments and more secure.
Questions? Next.
So just what is the practical impact? So if what will the person who's filing these applications experience based on these changes?
Once a development is approved and a resolution is memorialized, plans come in right now physically to the Division of City Planning to be signed and stamped. Then we keep some copies at the division, other copies are given to the applicant. They then have to scan those physical copies to submit them for an application to get construction permits. And this can take up a lot of time between coming to the division, getting the plans stamped, picking up the plans again, scanning the plans, submitting an application. And not only that, but with the digitally signed plans, it will be easier for us to confirm that the approved plans are what are being still submitted to get construction permits for.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a backup to those plans that are being digitally signed? Like, where would they be stored other than in the cloud? Like, would there be a physical, like, hard copy, not like physical paper, but like, somewhere stored, a storage device, like physical memory storage?
We would save them in our, on our files, on our systems. Right now, we save all of our files concerning applications on city computers. Not only that, but there are also copies of these files on Tyler. And so they will also be available on Tyler or the online permitting and licensing system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anya? Good? 3.3. Gigi?
Hello, council members. Thank you. Gigi Gasson from the Division of Affordable Housing. I am here on item 10.15, Resolution 25-133, authorizing the renewal of our contract with Intellectix Inc. That is the vendor that has developed our consolidated affordable housing portal. It's to provide support for both the software and the hardware, in addition to any new and ongoing enhancements and designs that we find are needed as the portal evolves with continued use by our constituents. The contract will be in the amount for $318,000 for 1 year. Of that, $26,500 per month is going to be for, that's the whole total, that monthly payment that we'll pay. It's divided into $2,800 per month for routine security audits and server monitoring, $21,200 for the engineering and development, which is that's the bulk of what we need to do to serve the constituents, respond to feedback, any other needs we find as we develop the portal. So that's the largest chunk, is for actually like R&D and making it functional and keeping it useful. And then the last one will be for $2,500 for space and hosting charges for this server. Any questions that I can answer about the portal or this contract renewal?
Thank you, Gigi.
Okay, thank you so much.
Craig?
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Greg Corrado. I'm one of the Assistant Business Administrators, and I'm here with Resolution 1025. I had met with some of the council on this contract. It's to take down a house that the council had purchased earlier in the year for the construction of the North District. I also printed some, I'm sorry, I apologize. I wanted this to be connected to the resolution. It shows a map of the actual place where the house is. So if anyone wants one, I'll be happy to bring it up.
Yes, just give it to Amanda.
So currently the house is empty, and I'm concerned that it could be a liability, so we'd like to take it down soon as possible and pave it over and make it nice and clean for our neighbors up there. And that this resolution approves a contract with Colliers, who has done a lot of work for us, including the Linden Avenue complex, DPW complex. So they used to be called Mazers Engineering, and they're going to oversee the structural engineering of taking down this house, which we can't do in-house because we don't have constructional engineers. And we want to take it down as soon as possible and make sure that the house next door is completely safe, because they share one wall. And then we want them to oversee making it nice and clean and sealed.
Can I ask, when is it, do we have a date yet? And if we do, can we notify the old homeowners because
The date of taking it down?
Yes.
Oh, there's no date yet because action by the council will start the process, but we certainly will be
notify me?
ahead of that. Yeah, as you know, David Diaz is working with me on it. He was going to be here today, but he also runs payroll and he wasn't able to be here. But yeah, exactly. We want to be very sensitive to the neighbors. I'm glad you asked that question because sometimes the city is not a good neighbor. And so, you know, I'm here 20 plus years. And so that's exactly why we want to get on top of it. You know, the council purchased these two buildings without eminent domain properties, I should say. One has a building, one doesn't. So they were negotiated. David did a great job because he's well known up there. And that's because we want to make it as friendly as possible.
Greg, so when they go through the process, could you tell David to make sure, Councilman Saleh knows, he just want to make sure and that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll do that first. As soon as we have the kickoff meeting, when you approve this, we will let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's lot 39. That's the attachment that's coming off right there.
Yes, and I apologize again that this wasn't connected to the.
And the rest is, there's nothing there. The rest, it just goes straight through to Hutton.
Yes. That's one of the reasons why I picked that. Lot 22 is a parking lot currently. So the way it goes, Councilman, what we wanted to do was introduce two entrances to the parking deck that's going to be behind this police district.
Oh, so eventually a parking deck is going in this yellow area?
Yes, exactly. And prior to my involvement, they were going to have only one entrance, which you can see it going to Sherman on the left, the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can imagine, 24-hour access through one entrance would have been kind of disruptive. The neighbors were not happy about that. So the new design has entrances both to this parking deck to both from both Hutton and Sherman. So it cuts down on the traffic. Just for your edification, the front part of the yellow, which is connected to Central Avenue, that's where the police district will be. And there'll be a 4-story parking deck behind it as the rest of the yellow. Currently, the North District uses a lot of street space to park their cars.
They do.
And so this would eliminate that. So private police vehicles who, you know, police officers who park their car there to go to work will be parking in the parking deck and off the street.
So any officer cars outside on the streets, we want them ticketed.
I'm sorry.
Once this is built.
I
Once
thought
this building go up, any officer cars outside on the street, we want them ticketed.
Once this is built. We'll make sure they get the ticket. Go ahead.
That is beyond my pay grade. I don't have one of those booklets that I can put in the window.
Greg, is this parking only for that police district?
Currently, my view is that we could use it for the public.
Yeah, because
Personal
you're
view.
saying it's a 4-level parking deck, right?
Yeah, it's 4 levels, so there's, I think, plenty of spots. Currently, the police would like to see it, that they control it because they don't want people in and out of it that they don't know, but it's, the design has not happened. So as we move forward, Councilwoman.
Yeah, because I can understand, you know, maybe them wanting to control the traffic in and out of the parking deck for safety reasons, but I just don't, and I could be wrong, I just don't see where they're going to be able to fill a 4-story parking deck. So either are we making the parking deck too big or?
Oh, yes, that's the question.
They can close off a section
So
for
we're
the
not in design yet. The city did design it the wrong way, I'd say, before, and now we're starting from scratch. So definitely we'll meet with council members to talk about it. We were building it, I'd say, too small, and now now we're thinking 7 stories for the building itself so that it can be used for the public meeting space rather than just police. And I think that maybe we can bifurcate it and make it so that it is absolutely disconnected from its use. You have to remember that police will be bringing prisoners here, so there'll be what they call a sally port where so you'll need to isolate that somehow.
Okay.
But I don't see why that design can't be made.
Yeah, with other people.
I mean, we bring prisoners to the north right now and we have nothing. You know, we have but if you've ever been there, it's a wreck, that place.
You can
already-
definitely close an area,
Every police station is a wreck.
you know, where the police officers, they do their stuff and, you know, bring the prisoners to another area. It doesn't all have to be for the police district. That's a lot of parking. And in that area, they're crying for parking.
Exactly how I feel. That's why I think we should build it that big. But so what'll happen next, council, is we'll, let us take this house down so it doesn't become a problem. And then I'll be bringing to you what we're going to do next. I'm hoping that the administration will be convinced to do the way I did Jackson Square, where we put all the risk off on some developer and because it took me 11 years to build the West District.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Come on, Amanda.
You know
take it
how
from
I
the
am. I
top.
want to sell.
Go ahead, Amanda, take it from the top.
Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the top. Our first reading ordinances 3.2 to 3.4 were touched on. So item number 3.1 or City Ordinance 25-021 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City authorizing the transfer of city-owned real property identified on the tax map of the City of Jersey City as Block 14905, lots 17, 18, and 19, aka 302 Fairmont Avenue, to the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency. Any questions?
Kristen.
Is this for the park, right?
Yeah, just a little background. This was on the council, I think back in October. We went back and forth with the JCRA and the planning board so they can study the project together with each other. And on the couch of the local councilwoman, we're bringing the project back. Currently now it's parking. So they just wanted to figure out what they could potentially build there and kind of design the specs before they just transfer it over. Now we're at that point, we can transfer it to the JCRA and they can put that out the bid so we can develop it.
The park, right? Okay. Yeah, man, we good.
On to our second reading, or do you need something?
We have the attorney for item 4.9 here, along with some people from City Crossing, if you have any questions on this one. Is it cool if we go to 4.9 now?
No, they gotta wait, Sean. They can't just, it's up to council president, actually.
It is. I'm just listening here. Everybody just. You normally go by order. Keep order, God's sake.
Sorry, I thought we did it in the order of people being here to speak. My apologies.
I didn't get anything.
Oh, they didn't sign
They
it.
didn't sign anything. See? That's how.
Okay.
Council President, start at the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it quick. That's it.
Got it.
You gotta go.
All right, we are on to our second reading ordinances. Okay, item 4.1, City Ordinance 25-009 is an ordinance amending Chapter 69 Special Improvements District, revising Article 2 Central Avenue Special Improvement District to be consistent with other Special Improvement District implementing articles. Item 4.2 or City Ordinance 25-010, an ordinance implementing Chapter 131 Construction Codes Uniform, adopting the updated Construction Site Safety Manual 2024 edition and requirements for standpipes and incorporating the safety regulations contained therein by reference into Chapter 131. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 25-011, an ordinance amending Chapter 160 Fees and Charges, amending the fee schedule for city-owned and operated swimming pools at Pershing Field Pool, Pavonia Municipal Pool, and Lafayette Aquatic Center. Item 4.4, City Ordinance 25-012, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing and Stopping, amending Section 332-24, parking prohibited certain hours at PS 1696 Sussex Street. Item 4.5, City Ordinance 25-013, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designating a reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Item 4.6, City Ordinance 25-014, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-8, prohibited right turns on red signal to prohibit turns on red at all times at multiple locations in proximity to schools, parks, and protected bicycle lanes. Item 4.7, City Ordinance 25-015, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing and Stopping, amending Section 332-24, parking prohibited certain hours at PS 37 along 9th Street east of Erie Street. Item 4.8, City Ordinance 25-016, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing and Stopping, amending Section 332-24, parking prohibited certain hours at Danforth Avenue, Early Childhood Center, 160 Danforth Avenue. Item 4.1, City Ordinance 25-017, an ordinance approving a 23-year tax exemption and authorizing a financial agreement for a multi-site affordable rental project previously renovated by Roseville Avenue redevelopment urban renewal pursuant to the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Act of 1983 and amended and supplemented NJSA 55:14K-1 and the rules promulgated under NJAC 5:80-1.
Questions? Any question, guys? This is city cross. Here.
They're coming up now.
Good evening, Council President, members of the
Good evening.
council. Jennifer Mazaway, Mazawey with K&L Gates, on behalf of Roseville Avenue Urban Renewal Redevelopment. And I have also with me my client, David Ginsburg from the organization. We're here to answer any questions that council members might have. This is a existing 131 unit affordable housing project located in Councilman Gilmore's ward. This project has 2, 3, 4, and 5 bedroom apartments with a very stable tenant base. The applicant has done a number of improvements over the years and a very large capital improvement in 2016 following its purchase of the project from the original developer and owner, was called Brunswick Estates at that time, and they were the recipients of a 50-year tax abatement in 1982. What we've asked the council to consider is the cancellation of the remaining 8 years of the existing pilot in favor of a new 23-year pilot, which could be coterminous with the affordability restrictions on those units. It would result in an immediate increase in the pilot payments for the project from what is currently 6.28% each year to 11% in the first 3 years, and then going up to 13% beginning in year 4. Through the remainder of the life of the 23-year pilot if the council were inclined to grant that request. Again, we're here to answer any questions you might have, questions about the facility, the project itself, or questions about the pilot.
Yeah, I think I just would like to have questions to answer as it relates to the transition. Is people going to have to move out? And if they do, what's the duration and stuff like that?
Great question. Thank you for the question, Councilman. We are not anticipating any relocation at this time, or we completed a large capital rehab project in 2016 and 2017. Subsequently, we did a complete roof replacement last year. Didn't have to relocate any tenants at that time. So we're not contemplating any additional significant rehab that would result in folks having to be relocated. We are planning a security upgrade project, so new cameras, as well as gates, some siding replacement, and we're looking into some additional resident services and community items, but no relocation required.
So, are the inside of the dwellings going to be done over as well?
No, that all occurred in 2017. So we did a $17 million rehab in 2017.
Oh, this is just for the outside.
We did the outside as well, but we're going to be doing some siding improvements. At the time when we did the transaction, we had an assignment of the existing pilot, but no new pilot or new extension. So we're essentially perfecting that now with the rate increase that Jennifer outlined.
Okay.
Just want to be clear, make sure I'm understanding it, but us voting on this 23-year abatement doesn't extend the affordability protection. So it's already built in through your NJHMFA work. Is that right?
The current deed restriction goes until 2047.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ma'am.
item 4.10, City Ordinance 25-018 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to St. George's, the Orthodox Church, encroached into the public right-of-way of the sidewalk along the frontage of 395 Sip Avenue, Block 11801.01, Lot 1. The attorney is here. He earlier emailed saying that there will be a change. He believes it's substantial, but council will review, and law department, if you can chime in on that. If you can go ahead and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Arnold Shalgin, appearing on behalf of the St. George Coptic Orthodox Church. This morning, I learned from my client that they had finally reached an agreement with the holdout property owner of a 25 by 100 lot along Sip Avenue, and they have been pursuing this piece of property for the last 10 years. And they're going to close in about 2 weeks on the property. So that will complete the entire site, and it will be owned by them. And I circulated a survey with a highlighted portion of the parcel to be acquired. I'm just uncertain if the meets and bounds description in the proposed franchise ordinance that we've submitted to the council is going to change as a result of this acquisition. And I want to meet with Dresner Robin surveyors over the next week, and I can report back to the council if it can remain or if it has to be slightly adjusted in terms of the description. That's the basis of the.
Oh, you want we pull it? You want us to pull it? We can pull
Sorry?
it off the agenda then too, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You could pull it off the agenda. That might be the best thing to do since you're uncertain.
We can carry it to the March 12th meeting. Will that give you enough time? We could do that, Council President?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Good, Amanda, we're gonna carry this one.
All right.
Amanda, we're gonna carry this one.
Okay. Okay, on to our last second reading. We have item 4.11, ordinance 25-019, an ordinance authorizing the city of Jersey City to execute an extension of a lease with the New Jersey Schools Development Authority on the real property at block 21102, lot 52 on the city's tax map located at 70 Egie Avenue for the purposes of temporary parking for the Via Jersey City service. Next, we have public speaking portion.
No, oh, wait, so with regards to, John, how long is it, another 90 day for this, John? Or, VA,
That's
or,
Mike had represented 3 months. Yep. 90 days.
And also, I'm still waiting to receive information as it relates to, I know we had got some money to purchase some electrical vehicles. So I'm just trying to figure out what, if anything, happens if we go with a different vendor other than Veer.
So the RFP for the transportation, whether it be VIA or another company, incorporated in there that they had to convert the fleet, I believe by 2030, but I'll check that for you, Councilman, where we would help with that, but essentially they have to convert the fleet all to electrical should that happen. The RFP also had two clauses. One, if they were to find their own location for the vehicle, or whether or not the city would house the vehicles for us. That was part of our selection, is whether or not, there's different prices for either one, but ultimately we bring that before council. That would go before you guys as well, whether or not we wanted to have them find a location or whether or not we wanted to provide a location.
I mean, I'm talking about, I think we received grant funds, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. And they got electrical vehicles. I'm trying to figure out what are they, that those vehicles belong to the company?
So we lease those vehicles right now for the company. And as part of the next award, it would continue similar to that where we're leasing it, but the vehicles have to convert to electric by a certain date with them. To your point, depending where they'd end up, we'd need, the actual infrastructure to support them. Point of clarification is up to 90 days. So it doesn't have to necessarily be 90 days. Should we get together this quicker, we can, of course, close it quicker.
They need to go yesterday.
We have our request for public hearing. Right now, we have 10 speakers. Before I came down, there were a couple more that were added. Petitions and communications, are there any questions or comments? We have 6.1 to 6.38. Okay, officers and communications, there are none. Report of directors, there are none. We will then have our claims. Onto our resolutions, 10.1. Item 10.1, Resolution 25-119 is a resolution proclaiming March 20, 2025 to be the Jersey City Public Schools Water Project Day. We went over every other resolution, so may I have a motion to adjourn at 5:30?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Saleh, second by Council President Waterman. All council members by acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We are out of here at 5:30. Enjoy the rest of your day.